I told Keith that he would have to honestly bury my body in our backyard in that home because I was never going anywhere, never leaving that home. I had raised my children in that home, and I was not ever going to leave that home. And then 4 months ago, I stood with Amanda and Annabeth and Melissa. I'll tell you in a few minutes where Keith was at the time, because God did the strangest thing by letting me have a time all by myself in that empty house, and then with my children in that empty house. But I stood with all of those boxes and watched a moving van take off with our stuff, with our whole lives. 27 years of living was in a truck. The last thing I did, and I could bawl trying to get this out of my mouth. I love that home. I have so many memories that our whole lives are in that home. And I'm just steeped into it. And we stood there and walked over to the shutters and just shut them. Totally empty. One right after another. And I turned around and Melissa went, "This is so sad. So sad." And we wanted to move, but it was so sad. I've worn that floor out. I cannot tell you, that floor is just laminated in my tears. I loved it, my little tiny girls, when I would have to hold Melissa. And when she got to go up the stairs by herself, I made her come down sitting on her bottom. For years, she practically did it when she was 11. Sit on your bottom, go down one stair. I loved it so much. And Keith and he had to be out of town on the day we were moving. Y'all, I nearly had a panic attack, and I've never had a panic attack. I nearly had a panic attack driving to the new place. We moved out in the country next to Keith's parents, and the moving van was in front of us. I was right behind it. And I had to turn up the air conditioner in my car and get it straight on me. Oh, it's so painful. And I know you're thinking, "Woman, get a grip." 27 years. What I love that the Lord did, it was like He gave us the things He caused us to find and our eyes to fall on, were like He just manipulated every bit of it. And of course He did. But Keith walks into me and he says, "I found this in the attic." And I want to hold it up where you can see it. I left the dust on it because I just think it shows you. I did not wipe it off at all. Do you know I barely remembered this box? Barely. That's my handwriting from how many years? I mean, that's young handwriting, that. Young. You know, we have no penmanship these days because we don't have to practice our penmanship. So my writing is awful now, but in those days it was pretty cute, real bubbly, really bubbly. And he said, I said, "Oh, sit down with me and look." And you know what he said? It just killed me. He goes, "Oh, I've already looked through it." And I began looking through it. Just a few to just take you on a little journey that's very quick. I also found the picture of Keith and I on our honeymoon, because the truth of it is, this was the man, dig that hair, girlfriend. I had me some late 70s, I was on my way to the 80s right there. This was the man that God called me to marry, not the other. This ornery man right here that would keep me completely honest, this would be the man. I also found a precious, precious picture of my two little girls at a wedding, and I relived that whole experience. You see that little one? Woo-wee! Listen, she tried every single nerve I had. But I loved them so much, I could not even bear it. I then found a letter that Michael, who had lived with us for 7 years, wrote me and wrote our family at the time. We called him, his nickname was Spud. We're a big nickname family, and that's what we called him. You can see the date on it. This was the year he was gone from our family. We were just like, it was such a tumultuous thing. I have no words for it. But dear family, I wish you were here with me. I miss y'all so much. We even taught our children to say y'all. They wrote it. Look at all the different colors. And it was just like, oh, one reason I'd not wanted to leave that house was because I was afraid if we moved on, it was the only place I'd ever had. If we moved on, we would somehow forget. And all of this, I just thought that the whole way, I saw in all manner of letter when I was going through times that were so painful in my life and so much bondage that I cried. On the last day Keith spent cleaning out the attic, he sent me a picture on our cell phones, and this is it. I want you to see, just on my back porch, trash. Trash. Praise God. The Lord let us leave that there. We did not put that in the moving van because of His great name and His grace. We got to leave all the trash from that house in that house. Now, we'll have more trash in the new house. And I feel sure we'll never move again. I only move every 27 years, so I'm not going anywhere. I like the same house over and over. But you know what? We get to leave our trash behind. Do you keep moving on, but you just keep loading it up with you? It's also in the moving van. Stop it. You do get to leave the trash for the trash men to get.